Let's talk now, though, to Ben Habib, former MEP, of course, a man that has been a sole voice, a lone voice in many ways on much of the stories that we've done here at talkTV about the migrant crisis, about the illegal numbers coming here. We found out this week that they've reached epic proportions. They're now as many as came totally in 2021, over 25,000, and it looks as though we could have that number shooting up further and further and further as the remaining months go. We had 600 come in the other day. We've learned overnight that not only are there 50 or more per boat now coming, that Serco has now put out to tender for some landlords. Serco, of course, is the company which is owned privately, but which is a government contractor taking care of most of these migrants, putting them up in hotels, etc., is now looking for landlords to give them 5-year leases to house illegal migrants in Britain, up and down the country. Let's talk to Ben to find out what he makes of it all. Ben, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike.
I mean, first of all, I think you and I have agreed many times that the numbers coming on these euphemistically titled small boats are getting bigger by the week. The boats themselves are now no longer really categorised as small boats. I mean, they're very, very well put together ribs, I suppose you might call them, for want of a better word, and they're very solid, aren't they? They're not likely to capsize. It's not like guys who are on a sort of a very small dinghy which is likely to capsize.
No, I think, people who were coming across 3 years ago were chancing their arm at getting across the channel. But now it is confirmed, as a result of Border Force and our Navy acting effectively as a taxi service, that they will be picked up. So they're more emboldened, they're taking bigger craft, and they know that actually they're assured safe passage into the United Kingdom. There is no deterrence taking place in our territorial waters. And of course, the hailed Rwanda plan hasn't worked. And that had to work in spades if it was to deliver any form of deterrence. So, with the UK government having championed that plan, having said that would be the resolution of this problem, and that plan, obviously having failed, I think these people feel even more emboldened. So every step we take, we almost make the problem worse for us. And I think, Mike, we've now got more people coming across the channel so far this year than all of last year.
Yeah.
And we're going to be pushing around 40,000, I think, for the end of the year. And those are the numbers we know about. Remember, there will be many who've got through without us even being aware that they've come across.
Absolutely right. And we've known for a long time that Serco have had a contract. I think the last contract they had was something like £2.1 billion worth of money coming from the government, from the Home Office, to move the migrants from Dover when they land or wherever and into migrant hotels, etc., costing something like £7 to £10 million a day now. We now see that they're putting out a clarion call for landlords because they want to sign them up. It's a bit like the old move people from poorer parts of Britain to coastal towns on the south coast because the council tax will be paid by central government if they're unemployed and on benefits, which is what happened in places like Hastings and places like Bournemouth, right? These are now landlords who are going to be saying, okay, so the council tax will get paid by Serco, the rent will be paid by Serco. They're actually saying on their offering, the rents will be paid on time. I mean, if you're a landlord, you're going to go for this, but there are meanwhile loads and loads of people in this country who can't get housing.
Well, exactly. And, this is big business. Out of all adversity, business finds a way to capitalize on it. And it's Serco effectively making AAA income from the government. So out of this complete failure of government policy to police our borders, we're getting enriched landlords. That surely is a ridiculous outcome for government failure. And as you rightly say, Mike, landlords will be chasing down these properties now. I'm in property, and the idea that you could buy a third-rate hotel, or what was a third-rate hotel on the coast of the United Kingdom and get government-backed income, what looks like a long-term basis would be mouth-watering.
Yeah, it's a license to print money, it seems to me. And it also confirms, does it not, that this is a business. It's not just simply about people coming to this country because they want to flee war or because they want to have a better opportunity. There are an awful lot of people here making money.
Absolutely. And in that will come vested interest, and there will be opposition to this now ending because there will be people making money. We saw this with PPE during the pandemic and face masks and all the rest of it. You know, new industries grew out of that adversity, as it is now with this immigration crisis and this illegal immigration crisis, I should say. And, you know, those vested interests will become entrenched. And of course, the lawyers have been there right from the start. You know, the lawyers love this because they have an opportunity, again, to represent these people, to oppose any deportation, and again, effectively being paid by the government in order to do that.
Yeah. I mean, it seems extraordinary, doesn't it? I mean, do you have any faith whatsoever in Suella Braverman being able to do what Priti Patel couldn't do, i.e. something?
Well, I have great respect for Suella Braverman, and, you know, I hope that she'll be a breath of fresh air in the Home Office. But what she's got to do is forget the notion that fixing or ditching the European Court of Human Rights, the European Convention of Human Rights, is the resolution to this problem. First of all, we can't do that because we're bound by international treaty to, you know, into the ECHR.
Yes.
But more importantly, this isn't a problem that should be tackled through deportation. This isn't a problem that should be tackled once people have landed on our shores. This is a problem that we've got to nip in the bud in the Channel. We've got to prevent these people from coming to the United Kingdom in the first place. I heard Macron say overnight that, you know, the friendship between France and the United Kingdom could not be breached. Well, can he please show some genuine goodwill and stop policing his borders and stop exporting his problems to the UK? And, you know, Suella Braverman needs to challenge him, but more importantly, she needs to get Border Force and the Royal Navy. I know the Royal Navy want out of this problem, but Border Force and Royal Navy have to do their job. They have to repel these boats at the point of entry. I heard Liz Truss say during the leadership contest that the problem with doing that is these people go back to France and then they have another go. Well, have another go and be repelled again and keep being repelled until they realize they can't come across the water. We need strong border control. It's not an ECHR problem. If the electorate get fooled into thinking that, they will allow the government to create a technical issue out of this problem and kick the can down the road. There's no requirement to revise any international treaties, to opt out of any international conventions. We have all the authority and powers we need within the United Kingdom to deal with the problem. And like with so many problems, Mike, all we need is strong unilateral British action.
Yes, because at the moment we have weak unilateral British action, and by that I mean that the reason many of these people come here is that they know that they will get offered, you know, the sorts of comforts that they will not be offered in France or anywhere else. At the end of the day, they're coming here because they know they're going to get a house, they know they're going to get a hotel room, they know they're going to be given cash, albeit not very much cash, but cash nevertheless, and they'll be given food. So why wouldn't you come?
And benefits and all, you know, the charter that governs the treatment they get here is long and comforting for them. I mean, the charter in itself is a holiday from, you know, Albania or wherever it is they hail from. And no, I mean, we've got the whole thing. We've got the whole thing back to front.
Yeah, it really is quite extraordinary. And we're told 65,000 is now the estimate of people who could be here by the end of the year. And as you say, those are the ones that we know. So effectively, you could be talking 75,000. You know, that's an awful lot of people. It's, you know, several small towns in southern England, isn't it?
Absolutely. And, you know, we can't underestimate the damage this is doing to law and order in the United Kingdom. We can't underestimate the burden it's putting on our national services, and we can't overestimate the damage it's also doing to the social fabric of the United Kingdom. You know, a lot of people are not prepared to discuss it, but I think we have to speak out about the fact that multiculturalism imported in this way is not good for the United Kingdom. We need some kind of homogeneity. If ever anything was driven home, you know, as a result of the Queen's passing, it is that the United Kingdom has to come together. And we're not going to come together if we have lots of forces in the UK that are not sympathetic to our history, not sympathetic to our culture, and in some cases out literally to damage it.
Yeah.
And we don't know what sort of people are coming across the Channel. They're not being vetted by us. They're coming across without invitation, without our knowledge, and harboring potentially very hostile attitudes to the UK. I know the sort of woke liberal lot, it's a misappropriation of the word liberal, but you know who I mean.
Yeah.
You know, want this kind of open border policy, and they want safe passage for these people as opposed to deterring them from coming in the first place. But I don't think they realize how much damage they're doing to the very system that enables these people to come across. There are very few countries in the world that are as welcoming and as comfortable as the United Kingdom. And in their wokery, in their faux liberal invitation to these people, the open border approach they want, they are going to undermine what we all hold so dear, which is these fantastic values we have in the United Kingdom. And I know you've discussed, I'm digressing slightly, but I know you discussed earlier with Laura Dodsworth, you know, not my king.
Yes.
People were holding those placards up. You know, these people who have the ability to hold up those placards are only allowed to hold them up because we have such a fantastic system, a system that our monarchy was part of creating.
Yeah.
And it's the same kind of people who want these open borders and, you know, the influx of people who are anti-pathetic to the United Kingdom. I mean, I hold my head in my hands when I see it, because they don't understand the damage they're doing to the country, which enables them to have these broad-minded, open principles.
Yes, exactly. Well, because all they've got to do is look to Sweden, where Magdalena Andersson's centre-left coalition party has lost an election, which has been largely based on their open-door policy for migration. And people have said enough already, and they're going to vote for a right-wing party. And so these people will get precisely what they don't want if they carry on like this.
Absolutely. And we're going to see this everywhere. You know, socialism used to mean standing up for the working class.
Yeah.
It used to mean standing up for laborers, which inherently is a very sovereign-based feeling. It's a very patriotic basis for a political ideology. But socialism's been hijacked. And what socialism has now become is a kind of pooled sovereignty, a sort of, we are all in this together as one globe, but we're not. We are separate countries, and the Swedes need to learn that, relearn it. The British need to relearn it. You know, the vote for Brexit, without wishing to go on to Brexit, the vote for Brexit was a recognition by the British people and a voice being made that we want to go back to being a sovereign, independent country with controls on our borders, which, you know, Boris Johnson promised in the 2019 general election. So I hope Liz Truss and Suella Braverman will follow through on it.
Yes, well, let's hope so. We'll certainly keep their feet to the fire. Ben, thank you very much indeed.